Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan, and yes, I have my lighting and I have my fan. And not only do I have my lamp and my ring light for lighting, I have the lighting of my beautiful Yule Tree 2022, hashtag Yule Tree 2022. I love the glittering lights and the shining lights and the beautiful ornaments, and of course my citrine star tree topper at the top. And of course Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audio-visual person, for my YouTube videos will do some panning up and down of my beautiful Yule tree. This makes me so happy because this is the first time that I have had a Yule tree this large in my apartment, and I've been living in this apartment since September 2005. And this is the first time in more than 4 decades that I have had a tree this big. So I am just so happy. It's a little bit of a learning curve because, you know, we've never had a tree this large in the apartment before, and we've needed to move things around and whatnot. But of course, the Yule tree makes me happy. It's not like I have a Yule tree all year long, so of course when my Yule tree is up, I want to do videos next to my Yule tree. So I want to read the 2023 overview from the Many Moons 2023 Lunar Planner, and I'm going to have Drake, again more commonly known as my awesome audio-visual person for my YouTube videos, do a close-up of the cover of the Many Moons 2023 edition. And look, it's prismatic. I love saying that. It's prismatic. The back of the cover design is just this basic black. And the article is written by Anthony Perrotta. I find it interesting. Well, I find it interesting 2 things. Number one, it's not every issue that, every edition that Sarah Faith Gottsteiner, who created the Many Moons Lunar Planners, has a man contribute. So I'm like, ooh, there's hope for me yet. 2023, A Year of Reconnection by Anthony Perrotta. The other interesting thing is that Perrotta sounds very similar to perro, which is the Spanish word for dog. So I'm like, I need to acknowledge that there are footnotes in this overview. I only was able to make out one of them, so at the end of the article, I'm going to read the footnotes, and then I'm going to read the bio about Mr. Perrotta. So here we go. 2023 is a year of reconnection with self, others, and personal peace. I was telling Drake earlier that now more than ever, the things that move me and excite me the most are prosperity and peace. Peace has become a really important desire, intention, need for me. Through this year, or through the year of 2023, the movements of Saturn and Pluto at both ingress into new signs will be sure to get the collective's attention. Saturn will move to Pisces after spending the last few years in Aquarius. I'm sorry, I could have sworn I heard something. Sounded like something from a video, like a YouTube video or a TikTok video. I'm like, what is that? Okay. Saturn will move to Pisces after spending the last few years in Aquarius. Pluto will make its first push into Aquarius after transiting Capricorn since 2008. Both of these planets highlight the transformations that come after deeper interrogations and confrontations with our limits, shadows, and belief systems. We will also see shifts around how we approach relationships in 2023 with the changing of the nodes and a new eclipse series happening in the signs of Aries and Libra, which are polar opposite signs, by the way, as well as cardinal signs. Boundaries will morph, forming like rivers in the earth of our everyday, and nourish our connections as they flow. The eclipses will call for an examination and overhaul of personal identity. How does that relate to our closest one-on-one dynamics? The more we cultivate personal intimacy, the more our relationships are affected. Mercury and Mars, both retrograde as 2023 begins, call for a slower start to the year, a time to listen before we act. Mercury and Mars ask that we reflect with care before leaping forward. Mars continues to backtrack through Gemini, having started this retrograde process in October 2022. It will reach direct motion on January 12th of 2023 and finish out its entire transit on March 25th, which is just a few days after the vernal equinox, or the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere. Also the first day of the sun's transit in the sign of Aries, the sign of new beginnings. Spending just over 7 months in Gemini instead of the usual 6 weeks because of this retrograde. Mars asks us to fuel our passions with dialogue, open communication, and grace. This transit can make it more clear to us that the mistakes we make can actually be helpful. I think it was in Catherine Ponder's book, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, where she talked about declaring mistakes good, or renaming a mistake a good thing or a blessing. I'm currently in the process of rereading The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, so that book has been on my mind a lot today. Okay. This transit can make it more clear to us that the mistakes we make can actually be helpful. Hello, Durga, how are you? Do you want to be in the video, Durga? I guess not. Yes, that was a pointed look at my awesome audiovisual person for my YouTube videos. My fellow cat lovers. Okay. Through Mars in Gemini, we understand that life is about process over progress, perception over perfection. I'm going to say that again. Through Mars in Gemini, we understand that life is about process over progress, perception over perfection. The Mars retrograde during October 30th, 2022 and January 12th, 2023 highlights reciprocity. Our exchanges, great and small, are put under the microscope. Where do we exchange our energy? And do those exchanges drain or support? How do we share our thoughts, ideas, emotions, and do they need a reset, up-level, or a different container or style? Intimacy forms stronger bonds and supports necessary action amidst uncertainty. Find your people and cheer one another on. And I'm going to add that intimacy is not just sexual. I have always said that my true definition of intimacy is when you know someone. When you know someone, their loves, their likes, their dislikes, their moods. When you don't even need to see them and you know that they're crying their eyes out. Mercury's retrograde periods reinforce these messages. Its birth in Earth signs this year. Oh my goddess. I have 6 planets in Earth signs, so whenever a planet retrogrades in an Earth sign, oh Lord, even staying at home is not enough of an insulation. Okay. I needed a moment, YouTube land. I am so sorry. I'm going to get it together. Okay. I'm going to start from the paragraph, at the beginning of this paragraph. The 5th paragraph, which of course is about Mercury retrograding. Mercury retrograde periods reinforce these messages. Its birth in Earth signs this year helps us find the value, foundation, and worth in establishing clarity inside and out. Alleviate the pressure of external validation from those that don't matter. I've been guilty of this, by the way. I'll just put it out there. Sometimes I do look for external validation, and I know better. Durga, don't knock anything down. I see things on the edge of the freezer, but, you know, don't knock anything down. Her cuteness is phenomenal. And, yeah. Anyway. I know you should see how cute she is, right? Right. But anyway. Focus on all the connections that make you feel alive. The themes of pleasure and resources carry on through the eclipse series of Taurus and Scorpio that comes to an end in October 2023. We will have spent 18 months in a cycle that pulled us through questions of self-worth and regeneration. The South Node in Scorpio urges us to wade through shadowy waters to examine the spaces we fear. The North Node in Taurus challenges our idea of material comforts and reminds us to make pleasure and embodiment a priority through upheaval. Redefinitions and reevaluations of resources, in all senses of the word, highlight a major theme of this time: sustainability. What is sustainable for you? What is sustainable for you must be sustainable for others, and most importantly, the planet. In April of 2023, the Aries and Libra eclipse cycle begins. The eclipse themes now shift to those of identity, individuality, inclusion, equanimity, and cohesion, especially as the North Node moves into Aries in July 2023. This is not about what you own, but about who you are fundamentally, or who you'd like to be. This eclipse series provides clarity on our own innate understanding of the word self. Relationships will change as we navigate me versus we. Understand that this process is not about choosing one over the other. This is about the yes and. And as I always say, relationships is not solely about romantic and marriage type relationships. It is about all relationships, including the self. Venus, wait a minute. Okay. Venus rests this summer when it retrogrades in Leo in July 2023. We are no stranger to this 18-month occurrence, and retrogrades are not something to fear. Venus prompts us to center processes and connections to creation. Examine your issues around pride, ego, and self-expression. Are you making space to be who you truly are? What fuels your creativity and sense of play? We can connect to our child selves and play for the sake of playing. Be mindful of why you block blessings, beauty, and love. This Venus retrograde summer begs us to live in the present with delight, to exist in the moments when we can chase joy without feelings of guilt. Jupiter's move into Taurus in May 2023 supports this sweeter narrative. Jupiter in Taurus is concerned with the abundance of pleasure and material harmony. Jupiter's ingress into Taurus brings reward after the intense eclipse cycle of the last 18 months, enforcing new beliefs in our priceless value we spent the last few years evaluating and putting into action. Knowing your worth in all senses of the word is integral to the cycles you are beginning. The foundations of our beliefs change immensely in 2023 when Saturn moves into Pisces in March 2023, where it joins Neptune over the next few years. Empathy, compassion, and service are all themes that this transit will activate. Saturn asks us to confront sacrifices we have made to be of service. Pisces is a sign that exists in the liminal, in the in-between, that blurs the lines of one space to another, reveling in the holistic thrum of life. Belief, our personal spirituality, and faith get highlighted when Saturn moves into this sign. Serenity is found in the truth that some things are undefinable, and Saturn can struggle with that notion. Saturn in Pisces helps us unite soul and body. This has nothing to do with quote-unquote spiritual ascendance or achievements of quote-unquote soul wealth. Those terms are created by capitalism, which tells us that our spirituality needs goals and stereotypical success to matter. Live in the perspective that we are here, now on Earth. Our mundane life is our home, our heaven, our spirituality. After the Pluto return of the United States last year, or rather 2022, our government, systems, laws, and political pillars continue to be challenged, maybe more than ever before. Pluto, the great transformer, moves into Aquarius come March 2023. The lessons we have learned around collective success and histories of oppressive structures will be put into action. This will take some time to unfold as Pluto temporarily slips back into Capricorn on June 11, 2023, before going back into Aquarius fully in January 2024. Pluto teaches us about power. How do we define it? Who has it? How do they maintain it? For the last 247 years and beyond in the United States, power has been in the hands of those that exploited resources for illusory gain. However, with Pluto now approaching and entering humane Aquarius, the sign of the visionary, the power dynamic must shift from those in charge to those that have been oppressed by archaic, crumbling systems and institutions. Equity and intimacy are where true power lives. This is not about putting one over another, but leveling the ground that we all stand on. Pluto in Aquarius is the living illustration of power to the people. One of my favorite hashtags, power to the people. Oh, I got a moment. Reconnection to faith, beliefs, and core motivation makes up the heart of this year's astrology, where we must cultivate new opportunities to feel inspired. One of the greatest takeaways from 2023 is that Saturn in Pisces, and ask to connect with and embody our beliefs and to bring grounded, intentional action around what we feel, dream, and hope for. These are the big takeaways of 2023. We must live outside the rigid constructs of the binary and exist along a spectrum, and in between. It is here that we find the sanctum of personal peace that goes beyond the confines of time and expectation. And here are the footnotes. Mars retrograde in Gemini from October 30th, 2022 to January 12th, 2023. Mercury retrograde dates: December 29th, 2022 to January 6th. I'm having difficulty making that out, YouTube. I apologize, but I believe it's January 18th, 2023 in Capricorn. April 21st to May 14th in Taurus. August 23rd to September 15th in Virgo, and then December 13th, 2023 to January 1st, 2024, Capricorn retrograde, then Sagittarius retrograde. Taurus/Scorpio 2023 eclipse dates: May 5th, Scorpio lunar eclipse, which will be around the date of the full moon, and October 26th, which is the Taurus lunar eclipse, also on a full moon date. Solar eclipses are on a new moon, lunar eclipses are on a full moon, FYI. And then we have the Aries/Libra 2023 eclipse dates. April 19th is the Aries solar eclipse, which would be the new moon. And October 14th is the Libra solar eclipse, also on a new moon. And then we have the North Node entering Aries and the South Node entering Libra July 17th. Venus retrograde in Leo from July 22nd to September 4th, 2023. And on May 16th, 2023, Jupiter enters Taurus. On March 7th, 2023, Saturn enters Pisces. And then Pluto enters Aquarius on March 23rd, 2023, slips back into Capricorn June 11th, 2023, and then re-enters Aquarius on January 21st, 2024. Anthony Perrotta is an astrologer, artist, poet, designer, and curator. His focus is on integrating astrology into everyday life, where the abstract feels tangible, and he has a background in fashion and interior design and has spent years bridging the gap between his passions. He has studied and practiced astrology for over 15 years, and because astrology is at the heart of everything he does, he has created intersections of art, design, and poetry with astrology. He resides in Rhode Island with his partner, his cat, and his rabbit. He's a fellow gay man. I love it. And he's a fellow cat lover. I love him even more. Visit Anthony's website at www.perrotta.co, Instagram, AP_astrology, Twitter @AP_astrology, and Patreon, www.patreon.com/AP Astrology. I will include all of Mr. Perrotta's links in the description box for this video. I have nothing to add about this overview for 2023. It was completely complete. I learned quite a bit, and I look forward to visiting Mr. Perrotta's website and checking out his posts on Instagram and his tweets on Twitter. And of course, I want to thank the Sarah Faith Gottesdiener, Gottes on Instagram, who creates and offers the Many Moons Lunar Planners, as well as so many other wonderful offerings. I will include the Goddess's website in the description box as well. And I absolutely want to thank Anthony Perrotta for such an incredibly informative, comprehensive, and illuminating overview for 2023. Of course, to all of you in YouTube land, thank you so much for honoring who I am and what I do, and for honoring Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audiovisual person, for my YouTube videos and everything he does as well. Thank you so much for all the likes, for all the comments, for all the shares, and for all the subscriptions to my YouTube channel. They all help out my YouTube channel, and they all help out anybody else's YouTube channel. And so if you have not been able to give your favorite YouTube channels likes and comments and shares and subscriptions, please do so, because every little bit helps for a YouTube channel. More so for those who are professional YouTube channel content creators, but even those of us who are not, those things matter, and they absolutely add up. So please and thank you. And of course, an extra big and bountiful and beautiful and wondrous and magnificent thank you to all of you who have scheduled your sessions with me. And I am especially happy and delighted with all of the private sessions I have done this month, what's left of it. It made me so excited and so happy to have lost count so quickly of all the private sessions I did this month. And as somebody who is approaching being a full-time psychic again for 2 years, after not having been a full-time psychic for more than a decade, it makes me especially happy to see this confirmation that I did make the right decision after all. I wish all of you the happiest and healthiest holidays. Tonight is the last night of Hanukkah. Today is the first night of Kwanzaa. And to all of my friends in Canada and the United Kingdom, I hope that today was an especially overflowing and abundant Boxing Day and that you received lots of boxes with lots of goodies. And of course, have a beautiful night, have a wondrous holiday season, have a glorious and prosperous and peaceful Happy New Year, and stay tuned for the next video.